Hello, everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in Waterdeep, War of the Spark Part 4. Today is February 4th, that month, 2020, and you are loved. That is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of you at the beginning of each and every single one of our sessions, which, of course, if this is your first time finding it, you can go back and hear that great message on our YouTube. So if you go to youtube.com/indooradventures, you can check up on all of our VODs there, or you can find us anywhere where podcasts are made available for free. Sorry, Podbean. Other than that, we also have ways that you can support the show. We have our Patreon set up, so if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can help support the show there. But hey, if you already support the show with Twitch, with subs, Cyber, thank you for them biddies! And other means, you can always go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is Indoor Adventure. There is no S at the end because we hit a character limit. So consider going and checking that out to pick up either a t-shirt, mug, poster, stickers. We got all sorts of fun stuff. So consider going to check that out. Other than that, I believe that is it for my announcements. So, hey RJ, who are you playing tonight?
Hey everybody, I'm RJ, and I'm playing Hubris, the Tiefling Sorcerer Warlock.
GB?
All right, there's a pattern. I'm after RJ,
Yes.
right? From now on.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, I'm Greybeard of Greybeard's Tavern, and I'll be playing KRONK GOREBLAST.
Hi, I'm LB of LBHackEmUp, and I'll be playing Ghost, the Blood Hunter Shifter Cleric.
Hi everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm going to be playing as Virtue, the Tiefling Rogue Sorcerer.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, and tonight I shall be your Dungeon Master. So, last we left off, the group was divided amongst two different mini groups. One group, of course, being our dear friends Hubris, KRONK, and Virtue, who were all aboard the Acquisitions Incorporated airship Greener Pastures, which Virtue is the captain of. Your group was making its way to a small camp of planeswalkers on the outside of the city limits proper for Ravnica. Back in the city, our second group, being Ghost, Daka, and a man named Yev, all teamed up as Ghost tried to get more information about the House of Demir, a kind of shadowed guild throughout the city of Ravnica. Now, upon your perusals, you ended up meeting up with a human man by the name of Sarkon Vol, who promised to take you to meet his god after you had asked so politely in doing so. Which is where we ended up at the end of last session. But before we go into the events that are unfolding for Ghost, let us go over to our dear friends who are currently in the rubble belt aboard an airship as it is making its descent, as you all bring Karn to meet up with your fellow planeswalker companions. You had seen that there was a large cat man, a blue-haired individual, two humans that were wearing reddish gear, each with a set of goggles about them, and it seems that the figure that was identified as a Johnny Goldmane is waving you down. So the members aboard the Greener Pasture, you find yourself descending and coming down towards the actual ground itself, and upon your arrival, the crew members of the Greener Pasture all busy themselves offloading the cargo that you had promised to bring to, as you had heard it described, this front line area. It seems like this is the general meeting place for the Guild Watch, the group of planeswalkers who have allied themselves here this day. At this point, Karn also descends from the side of the ship, and upon meeting with Ajani, the two of them, Ajani extends an arm out. Karn ends up taking his arm, and the two of them share an embrace of camaraderie before Ajani then departs from Karn as Karn makes his way to the rest of them. And Ajani actually comes up towards your group, and upon seeing you, Virtue, he just puts a large pawed hand on top of your head and just sort of like ruffles your hair a little bit, and says, "It's good to see you back."
Yeah, it's good to see you too. And she kind of like pulls his paw down off of her head.
Now, for the rest of you, this figure standing in front of you is roughly, they stand a little bit shorter than KRONK and are a humanoid, but they have lion features. So they have the, is it digitigrade? The backwards bendy legs. As well as a coat of immaculate white fur that is actually tied into dreads along the back. And you can see that they are missing an eye along their left side. And the staff that they have looks closer to a double-sided glaive in that it has more of like an axe-headed crescent at both ends of it. But Ajani seems to stow this away when he is interacting with Virtue. And upon having interacted with Virtue, he looks up towards your crew members and says, taking note of Hubris especially, and says, "Oh, so you found him?"
Yeah, Ajani, this is my brother Hubris, and this is his buddy KRONK.
And KRONK comes over the side of the ship with a crate, like, and puts it down and turns back. "Good to meet you," and leaps back onto the ship. And
Really is a shame he doesn't like the ship.
You know, I think it's for the best, honestly.
And you hear Ajani kind of chuckle to himself. And he says, "Well, thankfully, he doesn't have to stay on it much longer if he doesn't want to. We are setting plans in motion. It's going to be happening soon." And he is making direct eye contact towards you, Virtue, as he says this.
Sure is a shame I won't be here to see it on account of the fact that we won't be here for very long.
And he looks at you and then looks at the rest of the group and says, "So you found the way back, I take it?"
Well, no, not necessarily.
Virtue, you realize it's not happening here, right? The events that are unfolding. This is our camp, but this isn't where things are happening.
Right.
As long as you remain within the city, this is your fight too.
Whoa, 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 whoa. And Hubris like steps forward. What do you mean fight?
And as Ajani is about to speak, you hear a flippant tisking sound as the individual wearing the very nice blue-colored robes brings his hood down, and you can see that they have like runic tattoos along the sides of their face, and the figure looks you up and down, kind of squints towards Virtue, squints back towards you, and says, "Well, you know, the fight. It's everything that we've been working towards. It's been happening for years now. Ajani, myself, Chandra, this is the last stand." Are you... Question. You're her brother, right?
Yes, I am.
So are you all, like, do you also have a spark in you, or are you just completely useless in this?
Well, one, sir, I would mind my manners to someone you've just met and introduce yourself.
You may know me as Jace Balerion, the Living Guild Pact. And Ajani rolls his singular eye when he says that. And then Jace says, I've heard your name is Hubris. That seems to be living up to its tale, even though I seem to have only just met you. However, what can you bring to this table?
I could bring myself and my sister back to the city and we can find our way off this godforsaken hellhole.
Thank you.
It doesn't matter. You're gonna die. And then Jace just shrugs and turns, and Ajani just shakes his head and just, don't mind him. He's always been a little foolhardy. Likes to believe he's the smartest man in the room, and to my chagrin, he is.
Hate to see that. Well, sir, it was nice meeting all of you. Good luck on your war effort. He's nodding his head and he's like slowly pushing Virtue back.
KRONK, after you have been offloading boxes, the younger humanoid, and when I mean younger, I have to make the distinction. The humanoid wearing red that does not have the large braid of gray hair, the one that Ajani has and Jace have both kind of identified as Chandra, is coming up towards you and is just, you're pretty good at this. I've been, like, how are you able to do that? Is it just like sheer leg muscle, or is there like something else?
He'll just, oh, he just all.
And her eyes get pretty big, and you see that her hair, which is a nice reddish color, ignites for just a brief moment, and then fades back in. She's just not bad.
That's pretty sweet.
Oh, that's nothing. You should see me when I really get going. And she is more just interested in learning what you are. She doesn't seem to have the same flippant attitude that Jace does. And Ajani is then speaking with you and with you again, Hubris and Virtue. And he says, Jace is right. Regrettably, you can go to the city, you can try and leave, but the war will follow if we don't stop it here. There is a being, a dragon older than many of the planes that we have frequented, and he has made his way here. He is like us, but where we fight to ensure the freedom of all planes, he works only towards himself, towards his own goals.
Haven't been able to kill a dragon yet.
KRONK.
Setting crates.
This is the guy that wants to eat up my spark, like...
And Ajani nods. Not just yours. All of ours.
Yeah.
You are from a plane where the gods are active. Is this
Correct.
true?
Yes, sorry.
Where I am from, on Alara, we did not have gods in the same way that you did. They were not active. We prayed, but mostly it was for our own reassurance. And after my brother died, I was certain that there were no gods. However, there is a place where Karn is from. There were two gods. But they were not always this way. There was an artificer named Urza. Urza had powers beyond all recognition, and for his own right, he was a god. He could create entire planes, bend reality to his whim. And he chose to fight for good. There was another, darker entity known as Yagmoth, and the two of them fought for an eternity. Nicol Bolas, the dragon. He is from Karn's plane, and he has figured out a way to become as powerful as Urza. But if he does, there would be none left to keep him in check. You could run, you could escape, you could go to any number of planes that you want, but Bolas would find you.
For fuck's sake.
What exactly do you want me to do about this?
And Ajani...
I don't know if you're aware, but pretty much the only thing I'm good at is running.
Then why don't you run towards the danger instead of away from it, young one? You've agreed to help us. You've agreed to help us, and for that I am thankful.
Yeah, to run freight.
Then I ask if you would run freight once more for us. One of our numbers is currently in talks with the demon of this plane. The leader of the carnivals, they call him.
Whoa, that is bad news.
What?
He, I agree, is not he's not the best choice of an ally. But at this point, he is willing to help.
To what ends?
He seeks for his people to be entertained, not to die. If Bolas comes, he already has, there will be no celebration. There can be no circus. There will only be death.
Okay, so why do you need me to go to the carnival?
And Ajani looks like he is trying to find the right words to say. And at that point, Chandra actually comes over. And she'll walk over with you, KRONK,
Okay.
after you've gotten done leveling out all of the cargo and freight. And she says, well, that's where Gideon is. He can be a real stick in the mud, but he felt like he had the best chance of convincing Rakdos that he should help us. And we've kind of lost contact with him.
Oh boy. Oh gee, it sounds like he's doing a great job.
And Chandra just nods knowingly. He's a lot of that internal honor thing going on. I mean, I get it. Don't get me wrong, but...
So this is search and rescue, is it?
Chances are they got him fighting in the blood pit.
Oh.
You hear that, buddy? Blood pit.
KRONK just like totally like, well, that sounds amazing.
Chandra, Arjani, what are we going to expect in this blood pit?
And Chandra shrugs. I don't know. I've never been caught in one.
Great. Just great.
And Ajani looks at you and just says, well, just keep your head level and I'm sure it'll be fine.
Or decapitated at some point.
Try to avoid that one.
Well, if we're not back in... Oh, how long? What's the time frame of you to initiate this operation?
And Ajani looks towards Jace, and Jace says, sources say 8 days.
If we're not back in 6, consider it all fucked.
And Jace just gives you a very wry smile and says, I'm guessing I'll never see you again.
You know, that would probably be better for the both of us if we never see each other. You just have
We
this
wouldn't be so lucky.
punchable face.
And Jace just like gives you the whatever look and just goes back to doing what he was doing. It seems like being the smartest person in the room doesn't work when the room is the entire side of the city.
We have someone else in the city still who could probably... Oh, fuck. I'd have to meet you first. We'll be back in 6 days.
And at that, Jace will nod, and Ajani will nod as well. And the lot of you are offered to stay and recoup on supplies, get some rest if you would like, or as Virtue, you always find yourself feeling much more in the comfort of you can hop back on your ship and take to the sky, and then go back to the 10th precinct to actually park your ride.
Yeah, Virtue's gonna go do like a complicated secret handshake with Chandra. Just like, all right, see you later, Red. And go back up on that ship, kind of complaining to Hubris, like, you know, I don't remember actually agreeing to this job, but somehow with you here, they talked me into it a lot quicker than they usually do.
That's concerning, 1. And 2, what's up with you and Red over there?
What do you mean?
He starts eyebrow wiggling as he's walking up the gangplank.
KRONK, as always, is usually the last to turn. He puts his hands on his hip. He looks away, looks back. His cape billows out to the side of its own accord. And he says, it's a pleasure to meet all of you. And he leaps up into the into the ship.
And as you leap, you see Chandra just like put her hand on her chin, just like gives the like, not bad. Like she seems to recognize KRONK, especially the billowing cape definitely helped during all of this. It turns out that she's a sucker for added flair.
And once he gets up on top and he doesn't think they can hear, he like turns to Hubris and Virtue and is like, blood pit.
And it just echoes through the camp.
He's as good as he's as good at laying low as I am.
All right.
Hubris shakes his head.
And Hubris, as you shake your head, and the greener pasture takes off with a 3-day journey back towards the Acquisitions Incorporated headquarters. That is where we are going to shift over. Ghost. Last we left off, you had Yev take you into the Demir Aqueducts, where you had seen the Hanging Citadel. That was the center for Demir activity, at least best you knew, in this dark and dangerous place. Upon entering into a room with multiple doors and openings, one of these doors had opened to reveal Sarkon Vol, a humanoid dragon lover from a plane far, far away from where he is currently. Upon seeing him, he asked if you wished to see the pharaoh, to which you agreed and took his arm, and the two of you began walking deeper into the undercity of Ravnica.
Yep.
So, as you are walking, Sarkon looks down at you. And not really, like, for very long. He seems to also be focusing on the trip ahead. He asks, "So what do you expect?"
From what? I'm sorry.
No, you are about to meet a god of glory. What do you expect? You said you have met deities before or something to that effect.
Yes, well, they're usually very large. I assume he's horned because he was in my dreams. I assume he's a dragon because of what you've told me. I don't know. Is he going to shift into human form, or can he not do that?
And when you bring up the concept of a dragon shifting into the form of a human, Sarkon almost like recoils in a proverbial pain. It seems as if that concept it doesn't seem like it is possible to him. And he says, "Why would a dragon wish to be something as low as a human?"
Oh, it's just a disguise, of course. Some of them do it so that they can work their way in with the people, or simply an easier means of travel when in lands. Sometimes they just do it to fuck with people or to fuck people.
And Sarkon had not considered the very last option, but like there's a part of him that's like, "Oh yes, of course." Oh, thank you for the follow, Twisted Demon. GB, would you like to show what happens when people follow on the channel?
Always. When I'm on the channel and someone follows or subscribes, I take this mallet. I hit that guy in the face.
Yay.
So is we're not under in the lowest part of the city, but this is presumably the underbelly of the city, not the sewers.
And Sarkon shrugs and says, "Regardless of where we are, this is the place that we need it to be."
How poetic.
And you see a brief smile play across his face, and he remains silent. And as you continue forward, the clicking of your heels against the stonework begins to become almost rhythmic in nature, and it seems to just be echoing farther down this hall, and you feel yourself, after about 10 minutes or so, it's almost like you're compelled to keep walking, and to keep walking at this same pace. And as you continue on this path, you begin to hear a dripping sound, and that dripping sound seems to interlace itself with the actual clicking of your boots. And this audio that you hear becomes almost overwhelming. It gets higher and higher pitched, and you can taste iron in your mouth. And instinctively, you put a hand up towards your face, and when you touch the base of your nose, you realize that your nose has been bleeding, and that the dripping sound has actually been blood coming from your nose that seems to be mixing in with the sound of your own steps.
Oh, that's not good.
And
Can I speak?
As you go, yeah, you can speak.
Okay. I would like to cast Healing Word on myself.
Okay.
Or is it non like?
It's non-damaging.
Okay.
It's just a steady but constant nosebleed that you...
Oh, it's gonna stain. Is it getting on me?
It is.
Great.
And as you look towards Sarkon with this blood coming from your nose, your vision goes white, but you can still hear, and you can still taste the iron in your mouth. You can still hear the dripping of the blood coming from your nose, and you can still hear the clacking of your heels hitting against the ground. It seems like even if you wanted to stop, you aren't able to at this point. And as your vision goes white, you see, with the dripping sound, black splotches that begin to appear in your vision that then fold out. And at first it looks almost like a butterfly has appeared in front of you, made from just these dark splotches that you are seeing. And then very in a symmetrical way, the wings to the sides are removed. It's almost like claws are scraping off the wings to this butterfly, leaving only the center. And from that center, you see 3 lines appear. And from those 3 lines, they split open and you can see different eyes. And you are reminded of the Stone of Galore. That image then shifts away, and then more of those black splotches are appearing. And you see that they appear into the sign of a closed fist, which you recognize to be the symbol of Bane. But then that symbol begins to shift, and you see it transfer into a line, and then on the back you recognize as a closed fist, which is the symbol of horror. And you hear a voice as your vision is flooded by these dark splotches that say, tyranny, justice. These are all basic wants and desires. But you know the truth. You know what's right. And as the voice says this, there is a washing away of what you see on this similar coin. And for a moment, your vision is flooded by colors. And you can see what looks like a field of grains and a farmhouse that has, that is the same farmhouse that you grew up in the northern lands of the Forgotten Realms. And you see what looks like a scarecrow that is in the front, that is more towards the front area of this. And looking at this place, you hear the voice again say, "What about this stands out to you?" And you recognize that this area is your home.
I don't recognize this voice, or is it from my dreams?
This is
it's
the
not
same
horror.
voice from your dream.
Yeah. I don't like playing games.
This isn't a game. And you see the sky in this vision that you have darken, and there is an orange light that appears from inside of the farmhouse as smoke begins to billow outwards. You were so scared back then. So alone. Just you and your sister, isn't that right?
I'm not a child anymore.
No, you are not. And at that, you see flames burst out of the doors and out of the windows as the building itself is set ablaze. And looking at this image, the figure asks once again, "So what is it that you take note of?"
There was no fire.
I see. Well, that's good. And at that, the flames continue to rise out of this building. And the figure, or at least the voice, then responds, I can change that. You realize this, right? There might not have been flames once, but there can be flames now.
Are you suggesting that you can go back in time?
I'm suggesting that I can go where I wish and do as I please. And you have been asking questions. You've been finding yourself in places that you should not be going. And at that, you can still hear the rhythmic clicking of your boots upon stone and the dripping sound. And eventually the vision fades to all but black. And the high-pitched ringing sound that has been pervasive in the back is beginning to become exacerbated at this point. I am going to ask you very clearly, very earnestly, where is she? Make a wisdom save.
Okie dokie. All right. I don't play this character often, so let me just double check and make sure there's nothing that I get as far as wisdom saves go. I mean, by that I mean I haven't played this character in a while. I don't get advantage on anything. Okay. $27.
Okay. Sounds good. And so you are not compelled.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about, so how could I tell you where she is?
And the response that you get is, this is going to be fun.
I would like to shift.
Okay. Sounds good. So as you shift, and there is this moment of darkness before you, you realize that you are alone. Sarkon is not with you. And you are standing in front of a precipice underneath the city of Ravnica. And you can hear the sound of waterfalls off in the distance. And you see a impossibly large claw reach up along the side of this precipice to your left, and another impossibly large claw reach up to the right. And in front of your vision, you see twin horns that form a crown-like shape as a massive figure ascends in front of you. And as soon as this face is present before you, you see two eyes that are gleaming with energy that is more potent than you have ever experienced. When you were with Asuran, you had seen the energy that powers all of Mechanus. When you had fought Manchun, you saw the energy that they were able to harness to combat you. You have met gold dragons before, and this creature looks at you with twin blazing suns where its eyes should be. And it rises, And as it does, it fills the space in front of you. And it says, and you see its mouth move at this point, I will ask you again. Where is the girl? I need you to make a wisdom save with disadvantage.
So straight, because I'm shifted.
Yes.
Do I know who he's talking about? Can I guess who he's talking about?
You can
I can
guess.
guess who he's... Okay. Dirty 20.
As this figure asks, where is the girl? There is a dampness along your face, and you have tears of blood streaming down from the sides of your eyes, and you feel a weakness in your legs that you are unaccustomed to. And as this figure looms over you, your vision begins to cut in and out. The high-pitched sound never goes away. And in flashes, you can see this creature talking with others and then looking towards you. You can hear voices, thousands of them, all screaming out at once, all begging for mercy, with a hideous laughter trailing behind. You can see at one point that there is an addition to this creature, and that is a large oval stone that rests hovering between his crown-like horns. And it's almost like this stone is looking back at you. This creature is, with one fingernail, scraping at every memory you've ever had, every thought that you've ever presented. It knows, and it doesn't seem to care. And with each dig at your memories, you hear the sound of metal breaking and falling to the floor in a tinkling motion, or in a tinkling sound. Just as coins hit stone beneath you. And this audio, this high pitch, continues to well, and it seems to be overbearing until it stops. But as it stops, you are walking. You are unkempt. You are hungry. And you are beneath Ravnica's city streets in an area that you do not know. There is no one beside you, and you can hear a growling of some large beast in the sewers making a conscious effort to come after you. What would you like to do?
Something's chasing me?
Yes.
I'm gonna make a perception check to see if I can if I can understand what it is.
Okay.
Do I have any levels of exhaustion or anything?
You are going to have 3 levels of exhaustion.
Shouldn't have asked. It's fine. Hold on, let me look and see what that does.
Your speed is halved.
Yeah.
You have
Disadvantage
disadvantage
on
on ability checks.
And saving throws. Okay. All right, so disadvantage perception is 15
Okay.
for smelling.
So with a smell, you recognize notes of electricity, like that kind of ozone, the scent of burnt ozone. And you also smell, it is coming closer, and it smells like death, and it smells like salt. And as you are paying close attention to what is coming towards you, you hear that this thing behind you is making a skittering noise of what sounds like at least 30 to 40 legs.
Gross.
Just
yeah.
making its way towards you.
This is the creature that's chasing me?
Yes.
And when you say it smells like death, do you mean like an undead thing, or it just smells really bad?
It smells like it has murdered and slain many, many things. It smells of old iron and not the rusted kind.
Great. Okay. Time to what's around me?
What's around you are entrances and possible exits from the aqueducts. It seems like you have been left to your own devices within the sewers.
Solid. Is it all metal?
Metal and stone, yes.
All right, cool. I am gonna start making my way. I just know up is the way I need to go.
Yes.
So I'm gonna start making my way up, and then as soon as I see this creature, let me know where I am.
Okay. So by the time that this creature hones in on you, it is... You can see that there is a gate in front of you. It doesn't look like there are any actual gatekeepers or gate watchers in front of said metal gate. But you see that it is like an iron lattice that is crisscrossed back and forth. And it looks like it leads out into a vast opening. You can see that there are waterfalls falling along each and every side of this opening. And looking back, this creature that is skittering its way towards you is about the same size as the beast that you had initially fought upon your arrival into Ravnica inside of the Rebel Belt with Daka's help. But it has two large scythe-like arms, and the way that its body moves is that of like a millipede or a centipede, where it is more just sort of writhing from place to place. And it is crawling along the walls, moves towards the ceiling, and is just wrapping itself down and around, chasing you.
All right, cool. And this gate is locked in front of me?
There doesn't seem to be an opening towards this gate.
Oh.
There are no doors. It is just mesh.
Solid. And it is standing in my way back.
It is what?
It is blocking my path back down, because this way isn't out. I can't get out this way, right?
That is correct.
That's what we're saying. Okay. And it is blocking my way back in?
Yes. You could figure out a way to get through the gate or through the creature. There is also what you see, this large river that is possibly sewage. It looks like water, and it smells like salt. That seems to be pouring out from underneath the lattice that runs adjacent towards you. That seems like it also then contributes to this vast opening in front. So you know that if you didn't want to damage the lattice work, and if you didn't want to fight the creature, there is an option of jumping into the water and letting that take you.
Gross. I am going to try, and I'm going to try for the lattice.
Okay. Sounds good. So,
okay.
How are you going to go about creating an opening for yourself?
That's a good question. It is just there. It's not a gate. I can't try and lift it, right?
No.
What is it made out of?
It is made out
Metal?
of iron, yes.
How thick is the lattice? Like,
Looking
can I feasibly try and break it?
You could.
Okay. Then I will do that. I'll go ahead and light my claws and try and strength my way out of this.
Twisted Demon, thank you for the Twitch sub.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
I would also like to point out that they're the 469th follower.
Hey. Thank you.
That's great. Ghost is about to die.
Yeah, right?
People have died.
Yeah. So I'm going to light my where is it? I have so many things now. Where's my light crossbow? Or light claws. Maybe I don't have to click it anymore?
Yeah. Did they get a kabong whilst Ghost is looking?
Yes. You get a second kabong.
Yeah, it doesn't say. All right, cool.
So to light your claws, what level of Blood Hunter are you?
Well, I know it takes 10 damage away from me, but I thought there was a thing where you have to click the rage. Like,
oh yeah.
But no, okay. That's what I was looking for when I was looking for it. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna attempt to muscle my way out of here.
Okay, make an attack roll.
At disadvantage, correct?
We'll say it's flat because it's a wall.
Fair enough. All right, 2 attacks. Weapon fighting. That is a 16 and a 26.
Okay. Yeah, both hit.
Okay. And Crimson Right does 1d.
Should be a
4?
D4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Just double checking. Don't want to get it wrong. First time out. Okay. So that's 10 plus 8. So 18.
Okay, so 18, you managed to carve out an opening, and the metal seems to melt under the heat of your claws like butter, and you are able to create an opening that is at least large enough for you to dive through. Okay. As you do, it does tear at some of your clothing, but as you get on the other side of this lattice and you can feel sun on you, you look down and you realize that you are covered in dirt and grime, and it feels like you haven't slept in several days.
Mm-hmm. Gods. I'm gonna start casting mending as I walk.
Okay.
Actually, and after I walk for a little bit, if there's nothing too immediate at my, in front of me, I'm gonna cast sending.
Okay. So as you had gotten on the other side of this lattice, this large creature had actually reared up onto the metal, and it looked like it was trying to figure out a way to try and follow after you. But you realize that as soon as it got towards where the line of where sunlight was, it recoiled. It did not actually seem like it wanted to get out into the actual sun. It seems to want to stay
Noted.
Within the sewer limits, as it were. But so you are able to get out of there, and looking around, you can see that there aren't like proper stairways that lead up. A lot of this looks like ladders that you are going to have to be climbing on. But thankfully, there is at least some way to get from point A to point B in this situation.
Cool.
So, what is it that you are going to be sending?
I'm gonna send a message to KRONK. Sorry, buddy. I don't know how long I've been dark. Got into some fuckery. What's your status? Remember, you have 25 words or less.
That's the best.
KRONK,
Yep.
it has been 3 days since you have heard from Ghost.
All right. All right. She didn't say she was in trouble, so blah blah blah. Okay. Good to hear from you. We're on our way back. Going to the blood pit to, and then it's a long pause. I don't remember. Blood pit. Yeah.
Ghost stops on the ladder that she's on, puts her hand to her face, and just. Help is so hard to find.
Okay. So yes, so for KRONK, Hubris, and Virtue, it was a 3-day journey back from the Gatewatch camp towards the Acquisitions Incorporated headquarters, and knowing that you have about an hour and a half left until you can land your airship. That is when it is around that time, KRONK, that you actually received the message from Ghost.
All right. Hey, Hubris.
Hubris has like a small blanket laid out on the deck of the ship, and he's taking apart some of his guns and he's cleaning them. He has a screwdriver in his mouth. Yeah.
Ghost got into some fuckery, and but she's all right at this point. Told her we were headed to the blood pit.
Does she even know where the blood pit is?
I don't know. I hope she's gonna meet us back here.
Did you ever tell her that I wanted to speak with her?
When was that?
Hubris puts down the screwdriver, puts down the part he was working on, stands up on his tiptoes and pats KRONK's cheek. Don't worry about it, big guy. You're perfect the way you are.
Sorry, dude.
Goes back to fixing his guns. Right, so how are we gonna meet up with her? We could always go back to the promenade, the terrace. What was that place? Virtue.
Yes, Virtue says, walking at a 90-degree angle down a rope.
That's cool. Where's that? It's like a hub area where we first were.
It's
like a promenade.
Transguild Promenade.
There we go. Transguild Promenade. Thank you. What's your Loxodon friend's name?
Zissy.
Zissy. Thank you, Sissy.
She nods.
If she gets into contact with you again, tell her we'll meet up with her there. Please remember, KRONK.
I don't have any more words.
That's fine. This is fine. Did she
Next.
tell you where she was?
Nuh-uh.
Great.
Virtue is standing sideways about face like eye to eye with Hubris, and she's like, "Do we have to
Have to what?
Go back to the Transguild Promenade, pick up this wife that seems to want to kill you?"
Apparently she doesn't actually want to kill me. One of her minions got a little overzealous.
Oh, she's doing a great job of not killing you.
100%.
She hasn't yet, so yeah, I guess.
No, if she wanted you dead, you'd be dead.
Comforting.
Comforting.
But I wouldn't be happy about it. Just to let you know. Pat you on the back.
That's sort of a package deal. When I married one, I had to marry the other.
Big.
Oh, you're
big
married to him
stony
too?
grin.
Oh.
Did kiss though.
That was something. Pin me up against a wall. Said this is how you do it.
Okay, I don't want to hear about this. La 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 la.
Hubris has like this shit-eating grin as he watches his sister like walk away.
Just going back up the rope.
But
Bad.
seriously, KRONK, are you sure she isn't in trouble?
Nah, she would have stayed. Yeah. And he looks around at like the ship, and he's like, if she was in trouble and I couldn't get there, things would be broken.
Right. Then I'm not gonna say what I was going to say, lest we sink in this flying death trap.
Mm-hmm.
Gods, I hope she's all right.
She's ghost. She's come back from the dead. She'll be all right.
So, Ghost, as you are climbing up the side of these ladders, you finally reach the top on level ground. And as you are looking around for something familiar, some sort of bearing that you can give yourself here in Ravnica, you do spot something familiar.
Is it DACA?
It is not. DACA has been arrested for property damage and holding drugs. You will probably
and speeding.
not. And speeding.
Don't forget the speeding.
You will probably not see DACA the rest of your time here in Ravnica. What you instead see is one of these large rivers that is coming out of a Izzet building that seems to have questionable materials floating in the waters. It seems like the EPA isn't a thing that the Izzet Boiler Works really care about. As you see that there are bits and pieces of metal along the actual that are kind of like jutting out of the water at odd angles that seem like they're just bits of large debris that have kind of made a naturally forming dam. You recognize a very small figure on top of one of these pieces of metal, and you see a scared-looking homunculi that seems to have found himself in the middle of this river.
Remind me of his name.
Fithlethip.
Fithlethip. Fithlethip. How did you get up there?
He's just
Oh,
he seems so
come
scared.
here, buddy. Come here. Are you stuck?
And he just nods furiously, his one large eye just going.
I'll make my way over to him and help him.
Okay. And as you are helping out Fithlethip, there is something that you notice, that you take notice of. Even after exiting out of the sewers, you have gained a new flaw.
A new flaw?
A new flaw. You feel like you are being watched.
Well, great. I'm even more paranoid now than I normally am.
Sill me all over again.
I feel like I'm being watched. I probably am being watched. Getting into character. I just kind of Ghost does a quick once around and then puts him as a backpack, Fithlethip on her back, and makes her way across. How do you end up in places like this? I don't understand.
Fithlethip is just crying at this point. They seem borderline inconsolable.
I'll swing him around to the front and hold him like a child and pat his back and make my way.
Okay.
So I am on the side of town that I know, right? Like that I've been to before.
You
because this is the Izzet Kid?
Yeah. With the Izzet presence, you recognize that this is somewhere you've at least been near before. And as you're kind of looking around, Fithlethip is able to at least partially direct you for a creature that is able to get lost as easily and frequently as this creature is. It seems like a lot of its problems just have to do with being so low to the ground, but any kind of height that is given to this creature, they seem to know the city streets of Ravnica. And quite easily you make your way back to Tin Street. one of the main roads that leads through the actual city proper.
Cool. I'm going to finish mending as we're going so that my clothes aren't ripped anymore because I paid a lot for these. They're nice. And try to make my way back to the docks, I guess, because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about with this whole blood pit.
Okay. As you
get to the docks, get a bath, go to the blood pits.
Make a stealth check.
Okay. Am I trying to be stealthy here?
You have dried blood on your face.
Solid. I'm gonna pull up my hood.
Okay.
To my cloak of elven kind. And I am, so that gives me advantage on stealth checks, which would be just a straight roll because I'm exhausted from carrying this group. 15.
Okay.
Sorry.
Sounds good. So it seems like there are individuals who take note of you as you are walking, that just sort of like you see them like making side chatter to themselves, and a few people you actually see point in your direction. They never point with like a singular finger though. It's always like the 2-finger point of just like, do you see that person over there? Like they're more like taking stock of the fact that you look like you've been through quite a bit, but it doesn't seem like there are any law mages or any legionnaires that have taken stock of you. At one point, you are actually almost stopped by a member of the Selesnian Conclave who is trying to sell you restorative fruit, or at least they believe it is restorative fruit. But you aren't sure whether or not you can trust this individual. After having communicated with Yev and gotten relatively close to them, you know that agents of House Demir are able to easily disguise themselves as members of every other guild.
Ghost is she is still shifted, and she is going to bare her teeth at him and just give him a death glare.
And this figure like brings their thing, like holds their wares close to their chest, and says something in Vidalcan. You don't speak Vidalcan, so, but you recognize at least one word, which is Simic, and they seem to think that you are some sort of Simic, like feral Simic hybrid. They aren't sure what you are, but Fithlethip is rather sad, as he had little grabby hands out towards the fruit that was then pressed against the Selesnian's chest and then absconded. So the rest of you, as Ghost, you make your way back towards the airship docks. As you are, you've come in, you have landed, and you are getting your you're getting all of your cargo unloaded, and KRONK, you are incredibly helpful with all of this, as you're able to lift a ridiculous amount, as well as your jumping speed is quite ridiculous as well. Virtue, if KRONK wasn't so gung-ho about punching a hole in the side of your vessel, he might seem like a good crewman, other than his borderline violent disposition that he seems. The only thing that has made KRONK excited during your entire knowing of him has been the mention of a blood pit, which you know is not a time for revelry or joy. But who knows? Maybe KRONK will fit right in with the Rakdos Guild, and you can just leave him there.
All of these thoughts go through Virtue's mind as she puts her hat on, because we are now in the city proper.
Okay. And as you put your hat on and you're looking out, watching KRONK do this, you see a familiar face is a strong word, but a familiar eyeball that is being carried like a small child towards the docks. And you see that Fiddlethib is currently being carried in front of a... yes?
I was gonna say, as we get closer, I'm gonna activate my alter self amulet and just make myself look like me but clean.
Okay.
I have a reputation, okay, guys.
Okay. And Captain Sunder, aka Virtue, you see that Fiddlethip is being carried by a feminine form, but the facial structure doesn't necessarily line up with any kind of humanoid that you have seen before. There's like a black button nose, and you're still shifted, so it's like a little bit of fangy.
We'll say I'm not shifted anymore.
Okay. And just more of this kind of reserved looking form that is holding Fiddlethib, making their way directly towards your ship. KRONK, you and Hubris both recognize this to be Ghost holding on to this eternally lost homunculi. And as the group reconvenes, that is where we are going to go into our break for the evening. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who has decided to stop by and join us as we continue our travels through the mean streets of Ravnica. We are going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it is to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to patreon.com/indooradventures. You can sign up for our after show. It's pretty good. We call it Nights in the Courtyard. We answer questions not only from the community, but also from each other. Or, hey, if you want to pick yourself up something nice, you can go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. We got all sorts of merch there. It's a good time. But we will see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. And I hit all the right buttons. We are back. Hello, everybody. We have returned. So... last we left off, Ghost, you are escorting a very scared and obviously lost Fiddlethip back to the dock ward where you know your friends to be. Fiddlethip is incapable of speech other than just shrieking and pointing, but that seems to be their lot in life. However, they have led you back to the airship docks, where you know that the airship that which last you saw your friends is in the process of having successfully unboarded all of its cargo. The silvered golem Karn is no longer on the ship, but instead you see Hubris, KRONK, the crew members that you had seen before, as well as the one and only Captain Sunder. So what would you guys like to do now that you have all kind of reconvened?
Captain Sunder has this eye patch with a lens in it, and he pulls a lens out and screws it in, and then like it sticks out like a telescope, and he's like looking at Fiddlethip down on the dock.
Over the side. Hey, how you doing?
You're muted.
Uh-oh.
That's what happens when you switch cameras.
That's what
It's
happens when you set
probably
up a
detecting
cam.
the other camera as an audio device.
Aha.
Nope.
I guess you can say this is a spot of hubris.
Nope, still can't hear.
I know.
Oh, hey!
Oh, I can hear you now.
I unplugged the microphone. I unplugged the camera. I was like, no. Ghost takes a look at you, KRONK, and then kind of looks up at the ship, looks at Hubris, and then like stops for a second, looks around, and then hands you Fiddlethip and starts walking into the crowd and just no, I shouldn't be here.
And Fiddlethip is just like giving KRONK as big a hug as it can. KRONK, your chest area is larger than Fiddlethip's wingspan. So it's literally, it looks like a gecko on a wall of this small homunculi trying to...
I like palmed him like when she handed him to me, and he's like holding him like that, and then he's like clingy, and I just set him on the shoulder, and Ghost just walked into the crowd.
Yeah, she's like, she looks a little I mean, she looks normal, but she seems a little not in her right mind, I guess.
All right, then KRONK follows.
Fucking sis.
I would appreciate it if you didn't call me that here.
We're still on the deck.
Yeah, but people could sure see us from the deck now, can't they?
Ah, true.
Also, I would like to say, Captain Sunder, aka Virtue, you are your ship's obviator. So if you would like to use any obviating rolls during this period of time, you are more than welcome to do so.
Well, fuck. I forgot what an obviator can do. It has to do with being able to... Oh, it's kind of like what KRONK has, right?
Yes. So, an obviator, one of your skills is that you are... You can make a insight check as a bonus action, and you can learn 3 details of your choice about a creature.
Oh my god, you know what? That's great, because there definitely was a scene where, like, everybody was, like, having drinks and eating oatmeal, and Virtue and KRONK were just staring each other down, like, getting the read off of each other.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, this
yeah,
strange figure carrying Fiddlethip, if you would like, when you were skewing your eyeglass, you can attempt an obviation roll.
I would love to, because that stranger had my baby.
Ravnica's baby.
That's Ravnica's baby. Do I get, like, advantage or anything?
It's an
like
insight
that?
check.
It's an insight check. 11.
You need a 15.
Cool,
You are
that's
unable to obviate for the next until the next dawn.
That strange fox person is very hard to read.
Yeah, and Hubris will hop off the side of the ship and land on the deck. You coming or what?
Oh gods, that's your wife, isn't it?
Touches his nose, starts to walk.
Grabs a rope, swings down.
And
Say,
as their captain leaves the ship, your crew members, Kevin will look at the rest of the crew and just say, "Dock leave." Like it's okay. You guys have landed. You can spend some time ashore.
Sunder does this very often, actually. Kevin, you're in charge while I'm gone.
Nods.
If Kevin dies, Dipsy Wicks, you're in charge.
Yeah! And Dipsy Wicks claps furiously, and you can see Zissy is like, not me. That's fine. Okay.
KRONK, not jokingly, looks at Fiddlethip.
Fiddlethip.
All right, and says, "Keep an eye on her." And he's trying to watch Ghost in the crowd. Catch up to her.
I mean, he has a longer stride than I do. She just kind of turns to KRONK. Yeah, it's great to see you. I didn't even think about it. If I'm being watched, I shouldn't be around Hubris.
and just like that,
Poof.
So, you want me to fall back and see if anybody's there, or you point them out and I'll squash them into jelly?
No, I don't think it works like that. I think it's more of a magic thing. She's kind of just weaving her way through.
He has nothing to say, but he's just like, lum, lum.
for fuck's sake, KRONK, stop her, please.
Something's up.
Turns to Captain Sunder. Keep up, won't you? And he'll start slipping into the crowd to catch up.
I roll. Follow.
I'm at half speed, so you guys can definitely catch up.
Oh yeah.
Now, did you say you shouldn't be around Hubris and out
Yeah.
loud? Oh, well
Yes.
then I'm like, you want me to stop him?
Yes. That's
All right.
best. Wait, is his sister? No, don't tell me where his sister is.
And then KRONK just like about faces, and then like lumps like right in, like he's gonna run right through Hubris if he needs to, and he's like something magic or something. She says she's being watched. Oh, something magic, like she's being watched.
What part of fucking stay safe does she not understand?
You want me to go back with her? Or stop. What am I doing?
Stop her. Not supposed to be separated in an unknown plane.
Well, then go back to the boat. I'll be there when I can.
We have a job to do, KRONK.
Yeah, I got it. With Ghost.
Yes. So we're going to get her and go do this job.
All right. And basically in KRONK's head, he's like, if she kills you this time, it's not on me.
So
All
it's
right,
KRONK. What is
Yeah,
it?
I guess we'll head back towards where Ghost was headed, unless she elven cloaked her way into invisibility while we were being stopped, or while KRONK stopped Hubris.
The two of you are really giving him the runaround.
Yeah, he's used to it.
Yeah, she's kind of more frantic than like she's just trying to move away, not like hide. Although she probably should hide, but she's more like, fuck, I shouldn't have come here. What am I doing? I've lost it.
How far away is she from us?
Well, she's moving at half speed, so not very far. Like the entirety of the conversation that you had, she maybe got like 45 feet away from where you are.
So we still see her?
Yes.
Okay.
She looks fine physically, as always. Ghost is the most presentable of the Phantom Four. However, she is. You have seen her exhausted before, and she definitely has that air where like she's walking in a cautious manner, not because she is necessarily trying to be overly cautious, but because she is like physically incapable of moving more.
If I can, I'm going to get within. Is that 30 or 60? That's not the right spell.
Well,
Eldritch Blast.
I'm gonna get within 30 of her and Missy step in front of her to stop her.
Ghost kind of like comes into focus when he's in front of her. What are you doing? No, I can't be near you. I'm being watched.
By who?
A fuck all dragon who's after your sister.
Oh, wait, what?
And
I've been busy.
And at that, KRONK, you and Captain Sunder can catch up with the group.
God.
Wait, what?
Quite literally. Ghost. What part of stay safe? That was very direct. Did I stutter? Do sending spells stutter when they send?
I don't remember answering to you. And she like shifts into an alleyway. But honestly,
Smell the sewage on her?
oh yeah, I'm not clean. Probably.
Oh yeah. One of Ghost's plans was to clean up.
Yeah.
That plan was not followed through.
He
Didn't
grabs her
Get
by,
there yet.
KRONK does the move along citizen at the end of the alley so they can have a private chat.
Hubris would grab her by the arm. What happened?
Well, I was trying to meet with the assassins that live in the sewers, and I met a gentleman that I kept running into in the streets. He had us followed, and I obviously found the person who was following us, and we went into the sewers, and he said he was going to take me to his god, and it was this big dragon thing, and he asked me where she was, and then he proceeded to probe my mind for all of my history, and now I believe he could be scrying on me right now. I don't know.
There's probably like a crate inside this alley, and Hubris drags her over and just says, "Sit."
She sits very it's more like a flop than it is a sit.
The last time you saw a ghost this exhausted was after she died.
Yeah. Drop it. The illusion.
She deactivates the amulet.
And Hubris, what you see is that there is dried blood that is coming from Ghost's black button nose. There is dried blood that seems to have come down from her eyes. Her fur does not look nearly as prim and well tamed as it normally does. It definitely seems like she was in a place with a lot of humidity, and for the last several days has not been in any sort of state to right herself. She seems tired.
Hubris is going to take a knee and put a hand on her face. He looks visibly riled up, but he starts prestidigitating her.
I'm serious. I shouldn't be around you. If they know where you are, then they can find your sister.
No, they can't.
No? You don't think a god could find your sister?
If he even attempts to, let him come. I will fuck him up.
Hubris, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Probably not, but I'm still going to fuck him up.
I could do nothing. I could do nothing.
If he's watching you, then I can't update you on what we've been up to.
Exactly. And that's why I shouldn't be around you.
Where are you going to go?
I don't know what's happening here. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But we should not be here. You've never seen Ghost run from a fight. Ever.
Sunder, what are you doing during this time?
Having a small panic attack. mostly that. Listening, but KRONK is standing in the alley, and Sunder is kind of leaning up against the wall, underneath KRONK's big ol' arm, just kind of tapping his face and looking nervous.
We need you for what's going to happen next.
I'm sorry, what?
There are plans. He probably fucking knows.
Don't tell me. Don't tell me anything. Just don't. But we should leave. I don't know what battle is going on here or what war. And I don't care. I don't want anything to do with it.
From what I heard from Arjani... That's his name, right? Fucking... Arjani.
Oh my god. Whoa.
Sorry. Whoops.
Wow.
Arjani. This fucko is going to tear everything apart.
all the more reason for us to leave.
Not just here. Everywhere, including back home. So whatever the fuck they're gonna do here, if they can't stop him, then it's going to get back to Siren.
This is not something that we can fight.
Not alone. Maybe they have a chance. Maybe they have some ace in the hole.
But I can't be a part of it.
So what, you're going to disappear on the streets of Ravnica?
She looks at him like, you know I could.
You could. But what about getting back?
If what you say is true, and this being is going to destroy everything, then the people who are fighting it, the planeswalkers, the plane people, they can stop it. But if I'm with them and he is in my mind, then he's going to know what they're doing. It's what I would do.
Is there... Fuck.
Is it the same bad guy? I mean,
Yes.
their bad guy, her bad guy. And can't your god do anything?
I don't think on this plane there, from what I've heard, from what I can extrapolate, there are no gods here.
Oh, I mean, that doesn't mean Ghost God can't do something.
I could try speaking with him, but I don't know if I can even reach him here. I mean, he's with me, but she looks down her shirt. Is she still glowing?
It is a faint glow. There is no luminosity to it. It is just like, in all darkness, there is like a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something the Izzet or Simic can do to shield you. Some sort of magic, like an anti-scry.
Well, then I'll go look for that. But you should stay with your sister so she's safe. And I should not be anywhere near her. I'll go with KRONK.
I was going to say you're not going alone. So... At the end of the day, contact me. Please.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about what I did with Siren, and you're right, she deserves to make her own future.
If we get out of this, he's gonna pull a letter from his breast pocket and just press it into her hands. Open that up.
She'll tuck it away.
KRONK chuckles to himself.
What's so funny?
All right, we'll get out of it.
Ghost looks at KRONK and then looks past KRONK. Who's that? Who's that person? Who are you? Hey, are you listening to our conversation?
That's Captain Sunda. They captained the greener pastures.
Why is he here?
Show us around the city.
He's on shore leave.
Did you get my message, Steven?
Oh, you have sent a message. Okay, let me see. I didn't realize.
It's fine.
Sounds good.
It's not like you're running a game or anything.
Nope. Yeah, that's cool.
25,
yeah, so
are they lying to me?
a 25 insight. The two of you need to make deception checks.
I can't possibly get a 25, so
You could nat
yes,
20.
I'm lying to her, but very purposefully.
Thunder, Sunder continues staring forward, just with a hand over his face, just like staring directly forward.
26.
Hot
Second.
damn. Well, if KRONK's lying to me, then that's something big. That's a big thing.
KRONK is trying to lie to
Yes,
you.
well.
But Sunder doesn't seem to even really take note of you calling out
Right.
towards them.
Fine. Don't tell me. I don't care. I don't want to know.
And
I'm gonna
Kronk's
go-
nodding big, like,
I'm going to go do the thing. That's what I'm going to do. Don't tell me where you are. Not yet. Where you're going.
Fuck it, he already knows. And Hubris tugs her up and kisses her.
She kisses him back.
Gross.
One for is that salt water? One for luck, and he'll push her towards KRONK.
She'll like run her hand across his arm as she's walking.
and then he looks at the homunculus on his shoulder, and he's like, "Which way to Simic something or other? Where are we supposed to go?"
I need an amulet that will stop people from looking. Where's the magic places? Where's the people who do magic items?
And he's like 8 feet in the air, so I'm hoping he
Fifflethip like reaches like in the most swashbuckling sense that Fifflethip has ever experienced here. He has the most perfect of mounts. He feels like if you and he fused, he could be the Cyclops that he should have been all along.
I'll form the head.
I'll get super glue and glue baby to big up.
So Fifflethip like points ahead.
Super glue baby back to big size.
So Fifflethip points down 10th Street, and the two of you begin trailing off. Captain Sunder doesn't move. They just still seem to be standing in the same place.
Sunda.
They don't respond.
Hubris walks up and snaps his fingers in front of Sunder's face.
There's no response. They just seem to still be like...
He shoves his hand against the face.
The hand like pushes against them and then just sort of like goes back, and then they are just still continuing to think.
Oi. Are we going to the carnival or what? Hello.
After about a minute of this, Sunder disappears.
Son of a bitch. Guess I'll do this alone.
Jujutsu. Clone.
He tacks on the bottom part of his mask and then puts his hood up, and he's going to try and find the carnival.
Okay. Sounds good. So, for you, Hubris, make a persuasion or a survival check.
I'm good at the first one. Oh, these dice are rolling hot tonight. 7, 20, 21.
Okay, a 21. With that, you are able... It's pretty easy once you're kind of like, hey, I'm a devil person. People are like, oh, Rakdos cult, and like they're much more inclined to let you know where you and yours kind of belong. So finding your way to the Rakdos Carnarium is not a difficult task. To say the least. It is going to take you a little bit of time to actually gather this information and make your way there, but you at least know what direction you need to be heading to. Ghost and KRONK, you two, with the help of Fifflethip the Found, are making your way towards a magic shop as best you can, and you come to realize that most of the magic shops that they have around here are for very basic necessities. KRONK, you are actually rather enthralled, as it seems like they are selling these glass orbs that if you clap your hands twice near, they will glow brightly, and if you clap your hands twice again, the light will actually dim. It seems like they also have developed all sorts of manner of magical indoor plumbing, and a lot of these are just basic home appliances, whereas in Waterdeep, you know that people are selling, like, this is a wand of fireball, and, like, much more useful magical items, but it seems like Ravnica as a whole just has that very base level. Looking for specifically a medallion of non-detection. Make a persuasion check. As it seems like Fithlethip knows the way to all of the mundane magical shops, but as far as something that's more of a specialty item, they have not frequented themselves, for they have never had money. So I need the
2.
2? All right.
Because I rolled a disadvantage.
Okay.
Smash on. Smash off. The smasher.
And a Vidalcan businessman is next to you, just saying, "It is a rather wonderful invention, wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
It could be
I
yours
need
for your
better
lovely
magic
home."
items. Where
Well,
can I find better
madam, you are rather rude, and you keep turning this light on and off. I insist that you not be clapping unless you are trying it out for home improvement purposes.
How much?
KRONK?
This lovely device can be yours for 50 Zinno.
KRONK?
Gold pieces.
I'm trying to grease a wheel.
Consider it greased.
Can you, if I buy that, can you tell us where to get a real magic thing?
These are real magical items, sir.
No, I mean the like non-detection.
Spell scrolls.
Spell
Amulets.
scrolls, that kind of thing.
If you're going to be looking for more detestable items such as those, you're better off going to the Orzhov. They'd probably be willing to strike a deal.
Solid.
Cool. And he
Thank you.
lumps him the 30 you said?
50.
Okay. All right. Bye. He'll hand over a giant paw full of his not a whole lot of Xenos. And but now he's got a clapper ball.
Okay. Sounds good. All right, so Ghost, you remember the way to the Orzhov quarters that lay nearish the Transguild Promenade, as that is where you had gone to the Triumvirate's pleasure and played and watched Daka lose a game of Gathering with Aloysius the Pontiff.
Cool. I will maybe ask the barkeep.
Okay, and the barkeep, he actually kind of like nods you over towards Aloysius, the corpulent fellow who is still there at the bar. And KRONK, you see that there is a figure that stands a little bit taller than you. You have giant descent. This seems like an actual Ravnican giant. They are huge-sized category, but they stand significantly shorter than all of their Faerun companions. And they have the same kind of dull-colored gold mask, and they just look at you blankly as your group enters. And Aloysius is there, and he seems to be counting up piles of Xeno, and will eventually, and every once in a while, gives them to different winged thralls that seem to come in, take some of these coins into small pouches, and then fly off. And as the two of you enter, Aloysius looks up and says, Oh, it's you again. It's been a while.
Has it? I'm in search of magical items like amulets of non-detection, wands of fireball, that sort of thing.
Oh.
I hate this guy so much.
And you see them like grab a handful of food and just sort of shove it into their craw. And they chew they don't close their mouth when they chew, and sort of like pat at the corners of their lips with this very ostentatious looking handkerchief. And say, well, if you're looking for things such as these, perhaps I could be of service. What is it that you offer?
I have many things that are not from this world. But mainly I'd like...
Like what?
I don't know what you're... Look, I'm sorry. My charm is a little off today because I haven't slept for 3 days. I'm a little tired. I would love to bargain with you, but I'd like to know that you have the item in question.
Well, that's the thing. We can always have it delivered. It's called instant shipping.
It sounds like a awesome... Right, all right. Well, if you have...
Free trial means 2 days.
Fantastic. Well, if you have this item and you can confirm with me that you have it, I have this. And she goes in her bag and pulls out a colored, a beautiful silk colored fabric that has flower designs on it. This is from the fields of the Feywild. A vast plane of existence with all sorts of magical creatures, fey in nature.
And why would I care? It looks like it could make a good handkerchief.
Well, if you're reselling it, you could sell it to someone who is interested in items that are not from this plane. It is one of a kind.
There are many one-of-a-kind things here in Ravnica. The scarf might be one of them, but unless I have a buyer, it's worthless. And he again grabs a handful of food and just stuffs it into his craw.
What are your sellers interested in, if I might ask?
All sorts of things. It's really...
Obviously not.
You think of utility, mind you. Now, if there was a hammer that you possibly had that exploded into a firing ball, perhaps maybe we could work out a deal. But you present me with a scarf. A regular scarf that I have no way of validating whether or not it is from the Feywild.
Well, you are a man of business, and I can appreciate that. If you're looking for something that's more fun, I have this. And she'll put the robe away and pull out a ball that is, it's made up of a bunch of different metal bands. If I may demonstrate what this does.
Will it explode?
In a way.
Then don't do it in here. I like this place.
Oh, not like that. KRONK, do you mind?
And you could see that whole time KRONK's fuming because he's like, blood pit. Like, like he's just like pissed that he's like, we got to do this so we can get out of the blood pit. And so he's fuming, and then he's like, nah, go for it.
Perfect. She tosses it towards him and just says, oh my god, I forgot the command word.
You just toss a ball at
No.
him.
Sorry, that was me. Grovel. And the iron bands of Barl.
Just
Bilaro.
Iron bands of
Iron
binding.
bands.
D&D Beyond nuked all the
Yeah.
names. It doesn't matter anymore.
Expands and glomps KRONK, and he falls prone.
And Aloysius, like, is barely able to lean forward enough over his own oversized chest to see KRONK down at the floor. And
Good for
looks
your
up at
enemies. Also good for your friends.
you. How about this? You seem intelligent. I will take this item of yours, these iron bands. They seem... what is it in make? I can do something with these. But 50 years, and you have yourself a deal.
I'm sorry, 50 years what?
Oh, my apologies. 50 years of servitude upon your death.
KRONK?
Unless,
Enough.
is this your thrall?
Anyway, enough. And she takes the ball, retracts.
KRONK puts one hand down and throws himself upright.
I have no intentions of being in servitude to anyone except for my own god. If that is part of the requirements of doing business with you, then I shall take my business elsewhere.
Oh, good luck finding anyone who's going to give you as good a deal as 50 years. Now, your friend, your thrall, perhaps... For you, I could do 30 of theirs and the iron bands.
KRONK was a slave once before. He will not be a slave again.
Then I'm afraid we don't have any business. It's not slavery. It's indentured servitude.
Ghost looks at KRONK like, that is exactly the same thing.
No, there is a finite end date.
So, just out of character, what happens if you are in this servitude and someone brings you back to life?
So, in order for resurrection spells to occur, the host has to be willing, but the Orzhov Magnate overrides the willing aspect of resurrection.
Okay.
After that time, you're free to go.
Yeah, just as a mechanics thing,
Yeah.
I wanted to know.
Yeah.
So cool. But KRONK just looks back at you like, yeah, duh. It sounds like the same kind of thing. He doesn't say anything. He just kind of shrugs like,
I can get you what you need. You just have to learn how to play the Orzhov game.
I've seen your games and they are very tedious.
Yes, the best kind of games.
Is
Have
KRONK
many rules.
sizing up the people around?
oh, yeah, definitely. Because I want to shred one of these thralls. So, yeah, I guess during the whole standing there fuming, waiting for this to happen, he'd size up the thrall thinking blood pit and fighting this thrall. So,
The
Do they have
thrall
any
has
fighter?
no levels in fighter.
Total hit points.
Total hit points is, for the thrall, it would be 125.
And strength, dex, and con.
Exact numbers are higher and lower than yours.
It is weird how it phrases it, but yeah, higher or lower is fine.
Dex is higher. Strength is also higher, and con is con is even with yours.
Okay.
It seems like they still have giant strength, even for being dead.
Well, I must say, this city is quite odd. Can you point me in the direction of a, I don't know, inn? A place to sleep? Where I don't have to sell my soul?
I see. Well, if you're looking for a place, I guess that will just take your Zinno. There's always the surface. I'm telling you, 30 years of service, not a bad bargain.
Toothpaste.
No.
I'm sorry, what?
KRONK. No.
What is this toothpaste you speak of?
Something that is uncivilized. Now, let us go.
Mm-hmm.
Good day, sir.
And he just sort of like looks at you with this grotesque face and waves you on.
Ghost leaves the room and just goes, ugh. Did you get a vibe from that man? Just a, ugh.
Yeah, I want to see his guts all squished out.
KRONK, we talked about this.
I know. But I don't like him.
I don't like him either, but we can't just toothpaste everyone we don't like.
KRONK does not giggle, but he, in his head, the little, Spider-Man cartoon of it is just like everyone that they meet is just toothpaste.
Let's maybe talk to the, is it? Maybe they have something.
Maybe let Hubris know you're gonna get some rest.
Well, we still have time.
All right.
Okay.
I can't believe that there are no... Why would someone sell their soul?
Don't know. Guess they don't think they're using it if there's no gods here.
That's probably true. To the Izzets!
Okay. In the meantime, Sunder, what are you up to?
So, when Ghost started talking about being watched and that dragon came up, Virtue freaked out. And instinctively, she activated her illusory reality and bounced. Which is to say, she left behind a duplicate of herself, turned invisible, and ran. And she just ran back to the only safe place she knows, and that's the cabin of her ship. And she kind of sat in a corner for a while, curled up in a little ball, trying to compose herself.
Okay. There would have been a knock on the door at some point, and it would be Kevin.
I feel like this has happened before.
And Kevin says, permission to come in.
Permission granted.
And Kevin opens the door, closes it behind, and comes over towards you, and he sits down next to you and just puts his back up against the wall. I thought that you were going out with your friends? Your brother, the big one who wanted to punch holes in everything.
Yeah,
Why
I just
back so soon?
Uh,
Not that I am complaining. I don't. The sky is our domain.
yeah, my only love is the sky. I just got a little startled is all.
Well, I mean, that seems pretty normal. Every time you go into the city, you come back startled. This is why we fly. To make things easy.
She nods.
What was startling this time? You see another stomp howler that just looked a bit too big for how you remember them? Sky Swallower got your tongue?
No. I'm just I don't know about my brother's wife.
Didn't he say that she tried to kill him?
Yeah, right?
You should not be married to somebody who tries to kill you.
Exactly. This
Unless that's like your whole dynamic, like a Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing.
right? This allegedly accidental assassination attempt. Regardless, it looks like he loves her an awful lot. And she was trying to protect him by not being near him, which is
Right,
not something.
that makes sense given her penchant for trying to kill him. So if they aren't together, she cannot kill him. So safe. Makes sense.
Yeah. Kevin, how do you know if someone's a good person?
Takes a while. Sometimes you talk to them, they give you a vibe. You think to yourself, this is a good person. When I met you, it's a good person. You lied for a while, but good person. Even
Sorry
with the
about
lie.
that.
Yes. Looking back, I understand. Other people you meet, mostly Orzhov, mostly Rakdos, some Groll, is not good person. Is it? Have you ever looked at an Is it and thought, that's a good person? No, you look at them and think, they have some bolts loose, but their Xenos are still good. Good for business and good as person, separate. Your brother seems a good person. The big one, outside of wanting to destroy our ship, is a good person. But the big silvered fellow is a good person, I think. Was he person? Yeah, he seemed like person.
Yeah, I think he was a person. Have they come back yet?
No. Should they have?
She's gonna run up to the window and just kind of like crack it open a little bit and peek out. Oh God. I'm gonna lose him again.
Wait, hold on. You don't know where he's going? Why are you here if you spent so long trying to find him? And then...
I don't know, Kevin.
Why, how do you not know these things? You're the captain.
I don't know a lot of things. Hold on. She's gonna throw the hat back on, and she will run out the door, and then she'll run back and give him a hug, and then run out the door again, and she's gonna go and try and find Hubris.
And as you are running off, he leans out of the door. This is why I'm decisionist.
You watch yourself. I'll put Dipsywix in charge.
No, please, gods. Like, and like from the corner of the camera frame, you just see like a yellow glint of a goblin's eyes. They are just wringing their hands together, dreaming about the day they can be captain. It's never gonna happen, but Dipsywix wants it so.
Oh, Zissy will be captain before Dipsywix.
This is true. So, Sunder, I would like for you to make an investigation check.
Oh, fuck. That's fine. Do my best. Oh, that's actually not terrible. Good thing I've got a negative to this. 16.
Okay, so 16. Thankfully, you remember where your friends and your brother said that they were going to go. You don't like the place that they said that they were going to go, but you remember. It's hard to forget when somebody drops the name Blood Pit, especially as their localized destination. But you have a good idea as to how to get there, so you take off through the streets and make your way towards Rakdos territory. Hubris, it has taken you a while to get the information that you needed to actually get towards the Rakdos area, mostly because you've gotten the information, but now it is a matter of finding your way there, and honestly, finding your way into the territory was the least of your issues. As you got closer, it seemed like the city streets darkened, but all of the buildings took on a reddish hue to them. And some of the red you see is like fading into a brown, and if you get close enough, you can tell that it's blood that is being dried. It's not paint like you thought that it was upon initial look, but it seems like the people of Rakdos are very inclined to paint the town red.
Oh, it's adorable.
There are jugglers and performers. As to what they are juggling, they're small and screaming and don't seem to have any say in the matter as to how they are being handled. You see that there is a trumpeter who, as they are playing on their instruments, fire shoots out of the end, and all of them are wearing these elaborate Harlequin costumes that are just of different reds and blacks that have very gestury styled motifs on them. And you can see that some of them even have black and red face paint that they wear. And at the center of most of these small troops are what can only be described as blood witches. They seem to be taking members of the cult, slitting their throats, and as the blood splays from it, they use their own magics to then turn that blood into a variety of illusions and performative art-based things, let us say. This is not a good place. This is not a... It's a fun place if you're into that people. Sort of thing.
During this time, Hubris has taken off the bottom part of his mask, thrown back his hood. It's a stone-faced glare as he's walking through these streets. If he didn't have a mission, he would be highly disturbed. He's a little disturbed.
You can see that there are what look like a small group of trick-or-treaters that are making their way towards you, and they each have these very large masks that are reminiscent of faces in pain, but are done up. It's like the sad clown mask, but you can see that it's like a vicious smile on an otherwise like frowny painted thing, and they come up to you with bags and just sort of seem to be like slightly dancing around you, and they are all chattering in infernal candy, 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 blood, candy, 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 candy.
Can't give you one or the other, but he'll toss a couple of Zenos into the bag.
And the first one that you put Zenos into looks down, then looks up at you, and then just shrieks, "Blood!" And the other trick-or-treaters that are next to them pull out like what look like wooden bats Actually, no, these would be metal bats that look like they have spikes and other things attached to them, and they just start wailing on the one that you gave the coin to. And they begin to chant blood, 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 as they just eviscerate this small trick-or-treater in front of you. And as their bats are coming into contact with this figure, you see that this figure has like reddish scaled skin, and they are laughing, and each one of them are just small demons that seem to be enjoying the time that they get to spend with each other.
Endearing.
And then
Indoor, what the fuck?
welcome to the Rakdos Carnarium. And then one of the other trick-or-treaters says, me next, me next, me next, me next, and is holding up their bag to you.
He's gonna get down to their level and flip a Zeno up and down. But first,
Blood, 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 blood.
you gotta tell me
Blood, 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 blood. What? Blood,
where your
blood,
boss is.
blood. The boss?
The boss, the
Blood
big
boss?
guy, the ringleader.
And all of them sort of like shuffle. Are you here for the carnival? I think he's here for a show. And they are just cackling and infernal back and forth with each other.
He will use a sleight of hand to produce one, instead of one coin, 2 coins in his hands. So where's the carnival?
And at that, they look at each other and nod. And it just motion for you. Just this way, this way, this way. Blood, blood, blood. And they seem to kind of be like hopping and skipping to their own chants of blood, 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 as you continue to make your way through these streets. And you see a variety of illicit acts as you are making your way through these streets.
There is the sound of a zipper as he pulls out his rifle and puts it on his shoulder.
And as you have your rifle out, and it is propped up along your shoulder, one of the jugglers will throw what they were juggling up into the air, breathe a bout of fire onto these 3 things that again let out very shrill shrieks, and then they tumble towards you. It seems like they are doing a mixture of somersaults, handstands, and cartwheels until they are next to you, and they put an arm around your shoulder and say, so, where are you going this fine day?
Apparently, one of my friends is in a blood pit.
You're friends with the pit fighter? It's been years since we've seen anyone last more than 2 rounds. He's in round 5. Are you planning on joining?
What's his name?
Gideon. At least that is the name that he has given us. And what about you? You may call me Arturo.
Don't like that. Don't like that at all.
Why?
No, just
Have I done something to upset you?
gestures to everything around him.
You find that upsetting? And yet you seek to go to the blood pits. You're a funny... What are you? You seem like the small chatterboxes that we have around here, but you're taller, more lithe. You seem like you would be really good at acrobatics. Have you thought about joining the carnival before?
First time here. So...
Open tryouts. Anyone's able to join. You just
No,
need to
I think
show us a good time.
I'm good. I'm going to the blood pit. I'm retrieving Gideon, and I'm getting the fuck out of here.
But I thought you said a good time. This is the best time in the city. Have you not heard the chanting? Have you not heard the calls?
That's what you call it.
Yes. That's not what we call it. That's what he calls it. And
Who?
What do you mean, who? The biggin. The ringmaster of all performers here in the city.
Great.
The demon himself. He came from below to show us all the greatest time this city's ever seen.
Stick around, Arturo. You're gonna have a hell of a time watching me go then.
If I stick around, can we be a troupe? And a slow smile grows along his face.
Already have a troop.
It's not too late to join.
Tryout's a closed friend. I've got
Oh,
places
you're
to be.
no fun here. Away with you, blighters! And he chases off the trick-or-treaters. That mostly trickers that seem to frequent this place. And they lead you deeper into Rakdos territory until you can see that there are spotlights that seem to be up in the air. And even though it was earlier in the day when you had initially set, it seems like the entire area of the Rakdos cult is darkened. The sky has a permanent dark cloud that is over it. If you knew any better, you might think that it was some kind of invention that permanently leaves a darkened sky over this area. But Arturo, continuing to tumble and cartwheel and enjoy himself a good time, even doing several jumps where he touches his toes to his hands as he continues to walk, is very excited to take you. And before you sits a tent larger than any show tent you have seen before. It is a carnival tent that is the size of a coliseum. It is massive with these red and black streamers. And there are guillotines that are playfully set up outside, and you can see that there are some of these trick-or-treater style figures have actually taken some of these tumblers and they're squirming trying to get out, but it doesn't seem like it is causing any alarm within the rest of the livelihood here. You see heads quite literally roll in front of you, as it seems like in order to get a ticket in, you need either Xenos or to meet the murder quota. And it seems like the cultists here are far too enthusiastic about saving a little bit of coin wherever they possibly can.
What's the murder quota?
And Arturo says, well, if you can, say there's a rival troupe, someone whose showmanship is a little bit passé. Well, maybe it's about passé time that they moved on out of here. Do you like that one? There's more where that came from. Are you sure there's no opening in your troupe?
I'll have to talk to the other members, but he'll flick a Zeno onto the ground for the trick-or-treaters.
They fucking swarm it. And they tear each other apart in order to get to it.
Ticket booth, right.
And upon arriving at this ticket booth, you can see that there is a weathered-looking woman with a wicked-looking grin on her face that just has a loose cigarette in one hand that just seems to be burning. And she takes a drag and then looks at you. So, you ready to come in?
What are your prices?
And Arturo says, he's new here. He hasn't filled the quota, but he's with me. Doesn't that mean something, Gladys? And she looks at him. My name's not Gladys. And it's still Tenzino.
What about for a child?
And she looks at you, and Arturo puts a hand against your stomach. I didn't know! Am I the father?
I was gonna say, aren't we all children of Rakdos here? But, that could work too.
And the ticket taker, who you can see, their name tag does not read Gladys. They take another drag. 5-0.
Boop.
And she takes your coins and then passes you a ticket. And Arturo says, I've hit my quota. Just ask the victims. And she rolls her eyes and then waves the two of you to then come on in. And as the two of you enter into this large arena, Arturo ends up escorting you towards a seating area, so that way you can watch the events unfold within the blood pit. And what you see looking out is that this entire ring is filled with cackling demons, devils of various sorts, humans that are all in various states of being covered in blood or in the process of being stabbed. It seems like there's some looser rules inside of the blood pit, as one might expect. And you see that there are a grouping of about 5 of these hellish-looking mongrels. They look like dogs. They have 4 legs. They have canine-like faces. But when their mouth opens, it's like the top half peels back like halfway along their body. And they just have these long, sickening tongues. And you hear, and then you see a most unfamiliar sight. And that is a human man who looks, at this point, a little rugged. They have grizzled stubble, long brown hair, and they have a small buckler shield upon their left arm, and they don't actually seem to have a weapon. There's no sword or trident or spear or anything. But but coming off of the gauntlet on their right hand, you see what look like 3 long metallic ribbons that sort of extend down. And and that is when you hear the sound of a large bell that is struck. And as that bell is struck, it is a fanfare of music. It seems like many of the trumpeters and other instrumentalists from the Rakdos Carnarium are all gathering together and playing carnival music for this fight as you watch it unfold. And you see these large dogs in heavy air quotes, come towards the figure that you can only assume is Gideon. And you see at one point he backhands one with a shield and extends his hand out in a whipping-like motion as these long metallic ribbons that extended down just seem to cut through these animals like butter. And he takes damage. He suffers some of these bites. Some of these long lashing tongues whip out and strike against Gideon, but he seems to be holding his own. And as the fight comes to a close and Gideon is able to successfully fend off this fifth hound of sorts, there is a loud, raucous cheering from the crowd as they relish in the bloodshed that has once again filled the pit of their desires. And upon the upper rungs of this pit, you can see that there is a like a platform that has been set in the back that you have only been able to see darkness leading into, but what look to be two large red colored legs rest almost like they are sitting on some sort of large throne. And after the hounds have all been dealt with, you see Gideon turn back towards the side of this throne, and he extends his arms outward. It seems like even in this place, Gideon is within his element as a fighter. And the crowd goes quiet, and all eyes turn towards this darkened area. And with bated breath, you see muscles twitch as this figure stands and comes, or actually, they don't stand, but instead, what you see is a reddish fist extend outward into the light, and you see a thumb facing to the side, and they begin to tilt downward, and the crowd is just like, you can feel the tension, and even Arturo is actually biting at his lower lip hard enough that blood is then dripping down his chin. And then with a cackle that fills the entire carnival tent, you see the thumb go immediately back up, and you hear a booming voice fill the chamber that says, "Looks like this one's going on to the next round!" As the crowd begins to cheer, and you see Gideon's head fall, slightly defeated, knowing that he has to fight once again. And that is where we are going to call it for tonight's game. So I would like to say thank you to everybody who's decided to stop by and join us for this wonderful excursion into the mean streets of Ravnica. I'm sure it's a good time. If it wasn't a good time, what the fuck are we doing at a carnival? Hey, RJ, where can we find you? What do you do?
What's a small vignette after the figure raises a thumb up. Hubris has gotten up out of his seat and he's walking to the ringside, and he holds his gun up into the air.
Okay. So as you have your gun facing up towards the air, heading towards the ringside, we can call it there.
Cool.
Yes. Where can we find you? What do you do?
Hey everybody, I'm RJ. You catch me at RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where I tweet about the nerdy things in my life and sometimes stream and cause havoc with some of these lovely people. You can catch me on Monday on the Homebrew campaign as Caleb the Shatterkai Wizard Cleric. Tuesday, of course, as Hubris the Tiefling Sorcerer Warlock. And coming this Sunday at 7 p.m. EST with the lovely LBHackEmUp, we'll be playing Pathfinder 2nd Edition. I'll be playing Samek, a half-orc barbarian. It'll be a good time. DanaeKinder.com.
I'm Greybeard of Greybeard's Tavern, and you can check my Twitter for my schedule. But next up for me is Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be over on Encounter Roleplay, playing the mad scientist, Dr. Vrucht. And then I think Friday is Damn It Berries game at 8:30 p.m. over on Damn It Berry. And then I don't have anything this Sunday, but I'll be back here Tuesday night to play GOREBLAST and the Pit of Blood.
Cool. I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on Twitter. I play here Mondays and Tuesdays, and then this week I'm going to be playing on Wednesday on David Berry's channel, as was said. Sunday on G Game Nights, as was said, and then starting on the 18th, 19th. On the 19th, we are doing our Nerd Immersion Jordan with PH game, 5th edition. Where it might be canon with this show, it might not. We don't know how things are going to end up, but we are doing a test game tomorrow, which is going to go up on Jordan with PH's Patreon. So if you want to hear that, you can hear our little hour-long chat about our characters and whatnot. DanaeKeener.com.
And speaking of DanaeKeener.com, hi everybody, my name is Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can find me playing games here on Mondays and Tuesdays, DanaeKeener.com.
Hello, everybody. If you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am. But if you don't, hey, fella, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/Indoor Adventures. We do shows like this Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. If this is your first time joining us, consider going to youtube.com/Indoor Adventures, where you can catch all of the VODs for each and every single one of the games that we upload here. You can also find us wherever podcasts are available for free, so consider going to check that out. Other than that, we are going to be going into our Patreon supported podcast called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from the community but also from each other. So I look forward to seeing some of your questions. But before we go, I would like to say once again, thank you to everybody who decided to stop by. Thank you to these players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week, and we will see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Blood, 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 blood.